symphony of love, unbound. Here in the PNW, we go beyond the sound.
Welcome to episode 1 of Beyond the Sound. My name is John Opina. I am the Divisional Music and Gospel Arts Director for the Northwest Division, and I am joined today by my co-host,
Keith Almanza.
And our goal for this podcast is just to kind of talk about things going on in the Northwest Division that goes beyond the sound. So we'll talk about things, music, obviously, not music. We'll kind of give shout-outs to people throughout the division, and we'll kind of go from there. So, all right, what's on tap for today, Keith?
Well, as far as starters go, we're just coming out of Halloween, so I think it's only appropriate if we give a top 5 ranking to our Halloween candy opinions. Why don't you start us off?
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. However, the pumpkin versions of those, like, you can only buy in store.
Now, are these in any particular order, or are they just top 5?
Oh, top. Oh, okay, I see. You want 5 all right now. I'll take Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. That'd probably be number 1. Number 2 would be Almond Joys. No, I think number 3 would be any kind of gummies. So, Haribo gummy bears, or even fruit snacks, I would throw in that line for gummies. Number 4 probably be like the snack size Snickers.
Okay.
Like, I don't like the full candy bar Snickers, but the snack size ones are pretty tasty. And then I think number 5, Halloween candies. I think I'm all tapped out. Let's go Reese's Pieces.
So double down on the Reese's, okay?
Yep.
Let's see. For me, number 5, give me Reese's Peanut Butter Cup at 5. 4,
The bottom of that list.
it's still on the list, though.
Okay, all right.
Number 4, we'll go with Skittles, regular Skittles.
Taste the rainbow.
I will taste the rainbow. At 3, give me peanut butter M&Ms.
Oh, okay, that's a good choice. I love peanut butter.
And you know what?
M&Ms.
These last 2 are really easy. Number 2, give me Almond Joy. Number 1, give me the old standby Kit Kat. That's a crazy delicious display of candy right there.
Yeah, Kit Kats. I forgot about Kit Kats.
How could you forget about Kit Kats?
You know, once we drive a lot in this position, and peanut butter M&Ms and honey roasted cashews are like my go-to snacks for driving. So I forgot about peanut butter M&Ms. I haven't had them in a while.
Yeah, you also can't forget about the chicharrones.
Yeah. Speaking of holidays and that stuff, we have this podcast, episode 1, is we are recording today, November 5th. So this is Voting Tuesday. It's a very important time in our country, and I think we're not going to talk about politics on this podcast, but I think politics do affect us on a day-to-day. So no matter which way you voted, get out there and vote. I mainly focused on local state issues this year, and so we'll see what happens in the next couple of days here. Obviously, when this podcast comes out, it'll be well past that, but yeah. All right.
It'll be interesting to see if any of your write-ins grab any traction.
Oh, yes. He's alluding to if people were on the ballot running unopposed, I just wrote my name in. So I'm waiting for the news to pop up with like 0.5% vote for a state Senate seat to be John Opina. That'd be me. I'm not into politics. However, if you're tired, you can just write my name in next year, or maybe 4 years from now for for some of these state Senate seats.
You know, lots of people are saying they've never seen a candidate quite like this before.
That's okay. Let's move on. Okay, so we're going to talk about a little bit about summer and kind of how that all went and kind of our feelings on that and what we look forward to next summer. And, you know, it is November, so we are obviously heading into the kettle season, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But Keith, why don't you fill us in on the summer camping season?
Well, it was restructured from the previous season, which is also going to be restructured in the next season. So it's kind of hard to compare and contrast because it's always evolving, it seems. But, you know, we kicked things off with senior music camp. So it was a split camp this time around. And senior music camp had, you know, the opportunity to meet for the full length. It was Saturday to Saturday. We also got to do the 4th of July parade, which I had my reservations as far as being able to successfully navigate that, but I was, you know, pleasantly surprised with how well it went.
Well, I am very detail oriented, so that of course it would go off well.
But I think that was a great opportunity for the kids. I think overall the camp experience seemed to be pretty good for the kids. I think they all enjoyed their time. It would have been nice to have the youngers join us to be able to participate in all the senior music camp offerings that we had because we were so limited for junior music /say.
Which that'll change for summer 25.
It is changing. So that restructuring that I mentioned is happening again. But the idea being that, you know, everybody has a chance an opportunity to enjoy, say, brass, for example, or guitar or what have you. The limitations of, say, this time around, it was mostly due to schedule, I think, aside from the fact that it was split. But, you know, there's only so many times that you can get staff on to be able to come in and run music, for example. So it's, you know, difficult to navigate that. But being that they're all going to be under the same umbrella this next time around, I think that should alleviate any of those woes.
You remember sitting in the back of Captain Kalani's truck for the 4th of July parade?
I do. It was
that was a very tight space.
Also, for whatever reason, my mouthpiece wasn't in the case of the baritone I used, which was also weird. So that made it extra tight for my face. It was a good experience though. It was 4 of us sitting in the back of an F-150. I think it was I don't think that was a short bed, but it wasn't a very long bed. And it was tight for sure.
Yeah. I think I was playing outside of the tailgate.
Yeah, probably were.
You know, I think one of the interesting things about that event was, you know, one of the things we, as a staff, kind of combat every year is like choir, right? And people just they say they don't want to sing or they don't like singing. But a couple of those individuals actually led like camp songs throughout the parade route. And I think one of them was from our court. I think it was Kiara Williams, right? I think she kind of started most of the singing.
Yeah, I'm not sure who was responsible. I actually thought it was Tyler leading that charge, but from what I did hear, it was some of the kids that started leading those songs. So, yeah, that was really nice to see. Just, you know, the participation, we weren't really sure what to anticipate from kids other than them just walking. But yeah, they were leading songs, most of which we weren't playing. So
yeah, funny. I think you know, next year, as you've mentioned, kind of a restructure. There's also been a rescheduling. So this last year, 24, was our first and only time really we're going to be able to, as a music camp, to be able to participate in that parade. I'm not sure if Camp Arnold will continue that tradition or not, but you know, some of the things we did different this year at Senior Music Camp, we added like the evening kind of master classes, just to give the staff a chance to showcase what they do well, but also kind of teach other staff the importance of their craft. And I think one of the coolest ones I'm not sure if you went to this one, but Major Rhonda Gilgers, her art one was pretty fantastic. Did you?
Oh yeah, I was there for that one. We made. Well, I think there were a couple components to this, but the end product was we had little figurines that like little wooden figurines, and there was a lot of. I'm not really sure how to put this artwork that you could apply to your figurine, and the figurine would represent you and how. How your faith is represented internally, but it would show externally on your figurine.
Mm.
I have mine actually downstairs on my desk. I keep meaning to take it to the office with me, but I always forget. But yeah, I still have it. It was a nice experience, and I think just about everybody was there too for that one.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, another new thing we did this year in terms of electives is we added an electronic like music creation elective led by Eric Peterson out of Spokane, and that one turned out to be pretty popular. I think our theme song for the week was created from that class.
Mission
And
Possible, yeah.
yeah, maybe we'll give you a little demo of it right now.
Agent of heaven, your mission's divine. Power from on high, now you're on the line. From Jerusalem to the ends of the earth, witness for Christ, show the world his worth. Mission possible with God by your side. Holy Spirit's power, your ultimate guide. No border too far, no challenge too great. Spread the good news, it's never too late.
So yeah, and I've actually been playing around with Suno quite a bit.
Now, from what I remember, they used two resources to make they did a lyrics generation and then a music generation?
Yeah, I think they used some kind of AI, or maybe they created the lyrics themselves, or the students did. And then Suno is you import those lyrics, and then you give it criteria. Say like the student likes hip hop and rap, so you input your lyrics, and then you could type in, in a hip hop style. I think the hard part with AI technology, especially like that, is you have to be very specific, on what you want it to sound like. I remember when I first messed around with it, I was looking for like epic, like video intros, and it turned out to be something weird, right? So you have to be pretty specific with it in order to get the result that you want. So, but yeah, I think they use an AI, one AI software to create their lyrics, and then another AI software to import the song, the lyrics into Suno, and then from Suno they were able to create
their
stuff.
Another thing, I just wasn't sure what to expect from that, just what the end product would be. And again, pleasantly surprised with what it turned out to be. Our theme song for the week, the weekly theme, or I guess the music theme, was Mission Possible. And Eric and his class managed to come up with a track that just really kind of stole the show.
Yeah, I think was it Anthony created? He recreated kind of the lighting of the. Was that the wick candle, or what's the fuse? Is it called a fuse?
Oh, you're talking about for
the shield?
Yes, like the Mission Impossible lighting of the. I don't even know what
Is
it
it
is.
a fuse, right?
Probably a fuse, yeah.
That was pretty amazing. So, and the one good thing about having that theme is we actually used it all summer.
Yeah.
Right. Typically, we only have a music camp theme, and then, when we go out to Camp Gifford or other than musical theater, we just incorporate their themes, but we're able to use our own theme throughout the whole summer, which I thought had a little bit more cohesion.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more expensive for me, our department, in providing all the shirts, but
We also made the shirts make sense when we got to, say, Camp Gifford, for example.
yeah.
I don't know if you caught it. Eric played it a couple times when we were down at WMI. I think probably for chapels.
Oh, the Mission Possible?
Yeah, so like when people were walking in, they were playing music. He would play his AI music a few times.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was good. And then the week after senior music camp.
Well, actually, let's not go that far yet because I wanted to highlight another experience. We had our friends from the Army National Guard band.
Oh, yeah.
They came by, which was a different setup as it was the last time they were there. I think the previous time they were a brass quintet and they just came and played. But this time around, when they came, it was more or less a master class is how it was presented. But there was also an opportunity for not only us to get up there and play, but some of our kids.
Yeah.
Or it was really open invitation for anybody. But to see some of our kids go up there, specifically from brass, that was a pretty good highlight. And they all had an opportunity to do like an improvised solo in a Dixieland tune, I believe, if they wanted. They weren't forced by any means. But I know Isaiah got up there and he soloed. Yeah, that was a real treat to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the following week we had a tri-camp. We had musical theater camp, which we did Little Mermaid, and Keith ran the music portion of Say Camp, junior music camp, and then it was also Say Camp. It was an interesting structure. I think it worked. I think it was fine. I think again, not having the junior kids in the regular music camp session, kind of, they weren't exposed to the full gamut of musical offerings a regular music camp gives. So, I think that was the one big downside.
Yeah, it was. There's trade-offs. It was nice to have all the similar age groups in a way that camp had desired. Makes it more manageable for them. It would have been nice again to have all those kids experience like all the offerings that we had for music camp, but overall it was a success. We were just limited in our offerings, which was unfortunate, but I don't think that there was any disappointment on anyone who attended. So yeah, it was good. And then I think they all enjoyed what they saw of the Little Mermaid preview at our, call it, showcase night. And choir, I kind of expected it to be like pulling teeth, and they were all game. They were all up for it. So it was good all around.
Yeah. I think musical theater camp is hard. We do as full of a production as possible, and when we get the director's notebooks, it says in there kind of like timelines and stuff like that, and their timeline for putting on a show is like 3 months, 3+ months.
Yeah, we used to do junior productions at the school I used to work at, and those would be spread out, I think, over 3 or 4 months, where you're doing, you got to cast the play. That's step one. Then there's blocking, there's lines, there's all sorts of stuff that goes into it. So the fact that we can do it on, Monday through Saturday?
Not even. So we get there, they arrive Monday afternoon. Their first session is that evening. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is the preview. And then Friday-ish. Because, we usually do a cast party Friday night and a movie. So we don't really do a whole lot of rehearsing. We kind of just do kind of like a final run through, and then just kind of preparing for Saturday. So so for those kids who have gone to musical theater camp the last couple of years, bravo and kudos to you.
It's definitely an accelerated course. I think they all enjoy the grind. I mean, it's really just hit the ground running and don't stop until Saturday.
Yeah, I also think it helps that we have, the Zach and Hannah Smith from the Eastern Territory. They live and breathe that stuff, and I think it just helps take the pressure off of me. That they're just so good at it, right? Like I think I would come at it at a different perspective, and it may not be as enjoyable if it was left to just me. So kudos to them as well. And then we did, junior music camp, say camp at Gifford the following week. Again, great week. I think the one highlight, there are a couple, but one of them was, for some reason, I just had this craving for fried Twinkies and Oreos. And we got to experiment a couple times, a couple of nights at Gifford. And I got to tell you, man, I think that second night I did them, those were pretty fantastic.
Yeah, my waistline has yet to recover, and it is still furious. It was talk about a real treat. That was a real treat.
What was your favorite one?
That's tough because it wasn't just Oreos. It was the Star Wars.
Oh, the red and
Oreos.
blue, yeah.
So they had those like little extra candy crystals in them too. I sound like such a fatty right now. They're both good. I might give it to the Twinkie though.
I would give them to the Oreo.
You think so?
Yeah, I think the Oreos were
The chocolate was a real treat.
Yeah, I think the Twinkies, they were hard to manage because if you cook them too long, the filling inside would just liquefy and just become like, it would just kind of soak into
But then it also became reminiscent of like a funnel cake.
Yeah.
Which those are awesome. I mean,
yeah.
I suppose the Twinkie could have benefited from maybe like a jam addition. Now I'm hungry again for no reason. This is not ideal.
That was great. But other than that, I think, Camp Gifford it's such a beautiful camp. I mean, Camp Arnold is beautiful too, but, I love the water. So having it right on Deer Lake, it's a great time. And I think those the kids who went to junior music camp, a lot of them have never been to a music camp before. So, that's always good. And we had a good staff there as well. That was fun. And I think hula was a big hit.
When you brought your kids as well.
Yeah, well, the kids just lived at camp all summer.
Yeah.
Just with me. So.
But this is the first time I think they were at Gifford.
Yeah, and they were campers. Emily was a camper there. And I think she did okay. I think her main gripe was that she didn't get enough sleep. But if you know anything about Emily, she needs like 10, 11 hours of sleep every night. So, or else it's just bad for everybody.
Yeah, I think the only thing for me is, last year we were at a different residence for at Camp Gifford, and for whatever reason, the internet was just on the struggle bus at this residence. And then this time around, we're at a different residence. It's across the street. And once again, internet is on the struggle bus. I mean, it is what it is. It was, I think something went down, failed. But it's just funny that the two times we've been out there for camps, there's just no way we can use the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It was unusually hot the first year. I think this year the week started off pretty warm and then it kind of cooled off the last couple of days.
Yeah, I think we all had box fans in our rooms as well, which made things a little nicer. It would have been pretty toasty otherwise, but
yeah. I actually just not that long ago I got a free AC unit off of Facebook Marketplace, so I'm going to be bringing that to Gifford next year, no matter where we are. So that'll be nice. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for doing that, but.
I've been chewed out before.
Yeah, just ask for forgiveness. And then from there, we had a couple days break before heading down to WMI. Total, we had a pretty large delegation. I think we were in the 20s. staff and students, right? I think students was like 14, 15, 16 maybe, and then staff there's like 10 of us.
I think when they were at WMI, when they were recognizing the different divisions, I think we were maybe third largest.
Yeah, I think we were behind Del Oro and definitely behind
SoCal.
Southern Cal.
Yeah. But I think we were, I'm pretty sure we were third.
Yeah. So that's good. You know, it's not about a competition, and, you know, even though we were third, we did have like the highest numbers of campers this season. I think we were at what, 14 or 1,600 campers this season.
Oh, yeah. I
You know,
don't recall.
Yeah, I think those are the stats I saw. I think the next closest was half that, I think. But, you know, it's not a competition itself for the glory of God, but, you know, it's just good that our camp season is rebounding from COVID. So, and then, so that brings us up to speed about summer. We're obviously now in the new program year. And what are kind of some of your thoughts in this program year, and in kind of what are you hoping to see cores do by the end of, or I guess by next camp season?
Yeah, I guess it all depends on the core. Obviously, we throughout the week will go to various core and assist with their programs, specifically music and arts programs that they run. So, like Tuesday, for example, we're both at Eastside. I think Eastside, they seem like they're sort of becoming more independent, where to the point where they don't really need our presence there anymore. Not to say that we're not helping in any way, shape, or form, but I think that they're more self-sustaining as far as their offerings. I mean, Captain Jenny alone runs singing company. We help with a couple lessons and group classes, but that's what my hope is, to see more of the self-sufficient presence at the core, to where you can go there, you can help out, maybe do more lessons would be my goal. Just be where teaching privately so that you can give them that extra boost as far as ability.
Sure.
And then the group classes essentially just run themselves. I think that'd be my ultimate goal. I don't know if that's feasible in the next year, but long-term goal, we'll say.
Yeah. I have to pull up some year-end stats real quick. But I think, it was one of our better years, especially after COVID, of just musical involvement. Let's see. Total. Now, these are ending year 2024. And I'll post this on our social media as well so people can look at it. But we had just under 2,800 meetings or rehearsals in the program year of 24. And those rehearsals saw almost 24,500 people. The highest attendances are found in praise band and singing companies, that's fantastic. So I think, I'm a big proponent of music as outreach, right? I think music, along with sports, is just a great way to teach kids about, not only musical terms, but discipline and self-agency and self-confidence and stuff. So I think one of the things I would like to see is just core, where they can, obviously being at a core with no help or little help, that's difficult. But just hoping core to use music as an outreach. I think that'd be pretty great. I think that's where, we can kind of jump in as well. We don't, places we can't be at physically, we could help make connections with the community. But I think things like the kettle season, which we'll kind of talk about in a few minutes, but I think things like the kettle season is prime opportunity to kind of connect with local schools as well as music organizations to kind of get them involved and interested in the Army, right? Because publicly, we're really known for a social service agency and the Red Kettles, but not many people know that we have these free music and arts programs in many of our locations. So I think that's kind of, for me as the DMD, I think that would be kind of the things I want to see. And of course, growth at Encore, just getting more people involved. I think that's good. So if you're listening to this, we had so many categories in the divisional level that were not represented last year. I think praise and worship keyboard. There was nobody there.
I want to say even at the territorial level, keyboard wasn't represented. I'm pretty sure.
There was that.
Apparently, the cultural category is a solo and a group category.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I don't think I knew that until the schedule came out.
I'm not even sure they knew that until we submitted one for solo.
Yeah. So yeah. Now that brings us up to our favorite time of the year, kettle season, and on tap we have. I think it's November 5th, and how many have we done already?
In season, technically 2. Obviously, the Red Kettle Luncheon doesn't really count, but I mean, Red Kettle's in the name, so I kind of do.
Yeah, the one in was that in May?
Yeah.
Yes.
Got to do something.
Yeah, and then we did Puyallup on Friday.
Being that that's the first time we've played Christmas songs, I might say that it starts there. But
yeah,
the toy run the previous week was technically number 1.
Yeah. Coming up, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 30 more events coming up in the next handful of weeks.
Are there any that we don't know about yet?
Oh, there's a few.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Aside from just playing outside like a Fred Meyer.
Yeah. We have a few open weeks. A few open days.
Yeah, I was like,
that'll be that'll be filled, I'm sure, with things. But Kettles is a crazy busy time of year. Luckily, we're able to hire a couple more musicians, so it's not just us two playing at these events. Obviously, we're able to get some volunteers for that, but having some dedicated folks who are able to just join us for the Christmas season, that is a huge plus because. Gearing up for these events is pretty tough. So, for you officers and employees and kettle coordinators out there, just have a good season. Find some time to take some rest. I would say go drink Starbucks, but I don't really drink Starbucks anymore. Keith is a big proponent of Monster.
True.
He drinks the white.
It's the Zero Ultra. Thank you very much. Not an ad.
Yes, we are not sponsored by Monster Energy. Although I did tell you, on the way to work the other day, I was passing by a Monster, a vehicle with like a Monster wrap on it, and kind of showed him my Monster drink that I was drinking. We kind of had a good old time on the highway. No accidents caused. I assure you, I was driving very safe and appropriately. So, yeah. All right, let's do two. I think this is my favorite portion of these podcasts are the shoutouts. So, I will give a shout out. I'll start off by, you mentioned Eastside and Captain Jenny, and Eastside, really stepped up over the last year. I think Encore, not only divisionally but territorially, I think they won 7 or 9, some kind of prime number.
We put this in our newsletter. I think it was between 7 and 9, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, the kids there, man, they're just I mean, every chord does really well. I don't want to frame it that
We
way.
had a number of, like, not just first, like a number of placements, and placements, of course, being 1, 2, or 3. You could have 8 in a category for all we know, but for kids that might have placed second or third,
Yeah.
we had a number of those as well.
Yeah, it was
Really nice to see.
really, really good. So I think my shout out would be to the Eastside Corps, just for their work at Territorial Encore. Do you have a shout out?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm probably going to shout out Jonah Sherwood.
Oh, yeah,
Renton
yeah.
Corps.
Go Renton!
Really kind of maybe stepping outside of his comfort zone, because he was a late addition to musical theater camp.
Yeah, what did he
over the
play
summer.
at music camp? Interstellar?
Oh yeah, so
Was it
soloist
Interstellar?
night he did Interstellar, which for whatever reason they asked him to play that from time to time for offertory.
Sure.
'Cause why not? Yeah, he did Interstellar for soloist night. I think he was awarded for beginner brass band. They gave him.
Yeah.
I forget what award he got for that one. He might have gotten outstanding camper for the younger side.
He's a sweet kid, too.
He is, yeah.
Super nice.
And then, of course, joined us late for Little Mermaid. He played King Triton.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. His costume was super big.
And then, just overall, he's a delight to see every week at the Renton Corps when I'm there. He's always, up for anything. He'll play any part. He's already started looking at encore material. So, shout out to Jonah for sure.
I think for me, a youth shout out will be for Adelaide Lions from Seattle Temple. Everyone who knows Adelaide knows how energetic she could be,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it was her first time at camp since I've been here, and she played in the band. But the musical theater elective, man, she just like put that elective on like her shoulders and kind of just ran with it. And she was Sebastian, and she was not wanting to come to musical theater camp.
Very against it.
Yeah. But luckily we were able to convince her, and her parents were able to convince her, and she stole the show. Everyone in musical theater camp does an extremely good job, but Adelaide just helped take it to that next level, as Sebastian. If you haven't seen the show, it is on our YouTube channel, Northwest Music Arts, and you can see the show there. You can also see a cameo by our illustrious assistant DMD, Keith Almanza, playing Chef Louis.
That was my stage debut.
Yeah, and he forgot words.
I did, and I just sold it with la la la's.
Yeah. So that's on our YouTube channel. So if you want to watch the show, thank you to Ralph Hood for recording that. But yeah, and do you have another shout out? I have one more, but
I mean, I would have shouted out Adelaide as well.
Too late.
However, we did give her a solid chunk of a section out of our newsletter that we just put out recently, which was already a shout out. Let's see. So I got Jonah. Kobe.
Oh, yeah.
Onitsuka Adams. So Kobe started, as far as I'm aware, playing on the trumpet. He would play in divisional youth band, played at school, and there's a desire to play trombone in the jazz band. And so me being the trombone background, I started working with him on trombone lessons.
wait, you played trombone?
Oh, how dare you! And he's picking it up pretty quick. As far as I've taken the charge to work with him on bass clef, since that's pretty much all he'll read at school. He's already aware of treble, so I think that's something that can always sort of stay in his wheelhouse. We touch up on it here and there, but as far as his bass clef reading, it's going pretty well. So shout out to Kobe for wanting to change it up a little bit and then taking the bull by the horns.
Yeah, I think my final shout out, again, I mentioned this already, but Major Rhonda Gilger, who does a lot of the art stuff in our division, she is so incredibly talented. I'm not sure if you've been to the Croc Center.
Oh yeah.
And did you see the mural that she painted? That's kind of right next to their admin offices.
I'm sure I did. It's not sticking out to me right now.
Man, it's crazy that she, painted that, and she kind of posts her paintings on Facebook and stuff. And what a blessing it is to have that kind of talent in our division who can just super skilled, in something that's not music, right? Because I think it's so easy just to focus on music.
Oh yeah.
Especially since we're both musicians, but to have someone who's super good and talented and skilled in the arts, in painting especially, it's so good. And I think.
Do you recall what the final product was for her section of?
Yeah, I think they created like your story sweaters. I think they were sweaters.
That's right.
And I think it was kind of like your story, on it or something like that. If I'm wrong, if you're there, I apologize, but I think it was something like that, and it was nice to have them on display. So
I think we ended up with the black lights that we had for the ASL class. I think we ended up using those for the sweaters as well.
Yeah.
And those ended up looking pretty cool.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Really made those designs pop.
Yeah. So yeah, those are our shout outs. That's awesome. And then this are our last couple of things. This kind of musical happenings in the division. We all obviously have kettle season, where our kettle group will be out and about all over the division. But new this year, we have a divisional hula team that's led mainly by Captain Jenny Onatsuka Adams from the Eastside Corps, and she's being assisted by Emily Clement and Christiane Clement from Spokane. And I think the first rehearsal, they started off with like 9.
Yeah, it seems to be growing every week.
Yeah, this past Saturday, I thought there was like 16 of them or something like that.
If not more.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I think Captain Felicia Grant was there, Major Paula Wild was there. Even Sarah Michaels is involved in that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just really nice to see that kind of non-musical kind of group take place, and it'll be nice to get them involved in some of like the Hawaiian and Pacific Islander events that will be happening in the near future. Anything on your horizon?
Well, we have Leavenworth coming up
December 14th,
which is not necessarily a divisional band gig. It's more all hands on deck. Whoever wants to go, you're invited. Go play some Christmas music.
If you have never been to Leavenworth, especially this time of year, it is absolutely gorgeous. The roads can get a little tricky, so just make sure you're prepared.
We were both lucky and unlucky last year when we went, because it started to snow kind of when we started playing, if I remember right. Before that, I don't think there was any snow on the ground, and then it started to really collect, and it was beautiful to see. Certainly, the drive home could have done without that.
Yeah, added.
Did not need it, but it was
a little bit.
It was man, it was beautiful out there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But we debuted a couple songs last year that it's nice to change it up, because when you play the same songs.
Oh yeah, I Want a
day,
Hippopotamus for Christmas, which you
Hippo,
wrote.
Hippo, I thought went pretty good, and we ended up playing it a couple more times after that. But there was another one, I won't mention it. It's never coming out of the bag again. It was not good. Definitely a learning experience, and half of learning is learning what not to do.
Yeah.
So that is definitely one of them. But I have a couple more in mind that I'd like to have on deck, and hopefully we'll be able to play those at some point. But yeah, Leavenworth coming up as far as performance goes. Aside from all the other kettles we'll be doing. I think we have a couple other concerts coming up, or performances rather, for this season of programs. So it'd be nice to catch some of those. And then we're on to the new year, I think.
Yeah, rehearsals, last Saturday was our last rehearsal for the calendar year. So we won't see our groups again until January. So, and then other than Encore, our divisional groups will be performing concert on May 17th, right? I think that's the end of Salvation Army Week, so that is what it is. So
we also have our youth groups for DYR,
yeah,
which figuring it out is that you think you had mentioned that maybe we look at maybe doing a couple charts with having the divisional youth band play
with the worship team,
which could be pretty cool. Just something we have to look into as far as what they're playing, what we can handle. I think that'd be a nice nice thing to combine there.
Yeah. Well, I think that wraps up for our first episode of Beyond the Sound. We hope you'll be able to stick around with us. As our goal is, what's our goal? Is it once a month?
Well, I think
or once a quarter?
It's always adjusting. So I think we initially talked about post-event recap, but I don't see any reason why we couldn't do this monthly.
Yeah, our goal is monthly. Well, let's start with that. And then if you want to connect with us on social media, we are at Northwest Music Department on YouTube, or at Northwest Music Arts on YouTube, Northwest Music Arts on Instagram, and you guessed it, Northwest Music Arts on Facebook. So that's a way to kind of interact with us. And last month, we came out with our first quarterly newsletter. So in addition to the newsletter and this podcast and the social media stuff, there's plenty of ways to kind of get the rundown of what's happening in our division. Oh, we should
have named that the podcast.
But thank you for joining us on the first episode of Beyond the Sound. Again, my name is John Opina.
I'm Keith Almanza.
And we'll see you next time.
Take care.
In the heart of the rain and evergreen trees, the mountains meet the sea, a place of peace. Melodies rising like the morning mist. We gather to learn, create, and exist. Beyond the sound, beyond the stage. We lift our voices, turn the page. A symphony of love, unbound. Here in the PNW, we go beyond the sound. From blast to brush, from strings to song, every hand and heart finds where they belong. And every note and color, every line and beat, we build a world where souls can meet. Beyond the sound, beyond the sound, beyond the stage. We lift our voices, turn the page. A symphony of love, unbound. Here in the PNW, we go beyond the sound. From brass to brush, from strings to song, every hand and heart finds where they belong. In every note and color, every line and beat, we build a world where souls can meet. Beyond the sound, beyond the sound, beyond the stage. We lift our voices, turn